Everybody, do another one of these videos here while I'm in the same shirt on the same day. And this one we're going to do the second home bass in the key of E. And it's kind of, I'll do another one actually in the like fun voicings part. Hopefully we'll get to that. It's really almost its own home bass. It's like a third way to play the key of E. This one I would call it its own home bass way, and it will share some chords as some that we've already done, but you'll see why it's kind of its own home bass, because you're not gonna have to move a lot, which is kind of nice. But anyway, so we'll get to this in just a second here, but here's some examples of how you might be able to play this and what it sounds like. I like this for like flat picking stuff, but might do like How Deep the Father's Love. Not in there, is it? And that's oldie right there at the end, but it's kind of a fun one. You don't have to move your fingers a lot, which is great. So let's just get right into it. The home bass, and this time, like, it really is the home bass. Like, this shape, we're not going to move a whole lot. So here's your one chord. If you look at, oh, I'm sorry, I'm on page 26. So on the second fret, you have two notes, two strings, or two fingers. Actually, sorry, scratch that. You're doing it all with the one, and that's like that half bar. I think I said a half stack on one of these other videos. I meant half bar. Like a full bar, you're going all across the whole fret, all strings. On this one, it's like the A that we did in class, where in the key of D, we had this half bar for the A. If you just move that down one string each, that's actually an E suspended. But that's the bass. The rest of it is this pinky finger on the fourth fret of the G string. So you're kind of here. You could do like 1 and 2, like maybe like a E minor, but you just got this pinky there. But I find that I don't know, we can use our third finger quite a bit for the E over G sharp. I just can't do it when I have my second finger down. So instead of doing that, I'll half bar, but I really don't need, I've got my pinky down, so I don't need my first finger to be really solid on the G if I don't want it to be. But that's our one chord. Try to get my other fingers out of the way. That's the one chord. But anyway, so these other fingers are sort of floating around, which can be fun for other sounds. Anyway, that'll be useful for other things. But that's the one chord. If you just lift up your pinky, that's E suspended. Okay, before we go on, the one downside to this being the one chord is that there's no third. The only third that's present in the G chord is that one. All the rest of them are 1s and 3s and 5s. So on one hand, it's not necessarily as melodic, but because you don't have that third, which is sort of a key. The thirds and the sevenths are really, we don't play a lot of sevenths, but the thirds make the chord, because you could have a minor or a major, have a 1 and a 5 being the same. If you don't understand what I'm saying, that's totally fine. But it's what makes the chord unique, really, in our style of music. And in other styles, it's the third and the seventh that makes it sort of unique. But for us, it's mostly the third that differentiates things. So that's kind of a downside. You don't get that melodic, special sound that comes with the E major. But it also, it's a nice, pretty chord. And I like the power chord, where it's just 1s and 5s. I like that for my key of G too, I think, as I shared. G here with this first finger on the 2nd fret, and I always just mute the A string with my middle finger, and that's all 1s and 5s. So it's kind of a power chord. Anyway, same thing here. But there you go, E suspended. It's a little tough to go back to the E, but it's doable. You can jump back and forth with the different ways of playing E, so you might try to practice just going from this E to the other E. You just put your pinky down like an E suspended and move it up to that 4th fret. It's kind of a nice way to think about it. Anyway, so that's that. If you were to, for the 4 chord, the A, if you were to just lift up your first finger to where you don't have it down, and just essentially lift it off of the A string, I wouldn't necessarily pull it forward, but I would just use it now as an individual string instead of a half bar. Use it as an individual string where you have the A string open, that's the 2nd one away from your face, and you're just holding down the D string on the 2nd fret. There you have A suspended, or it's an A2 really, but yeah, that'll do for A. Maybe not quite as nice as this one, but it'll do. That's the A chord. So between the E and the A. Okay. And the B is actually the same as we had it in the other version of E, but you just take this ring finger that's hanging out and put it on the 4th fret right towards your face, above, I guess you might say, below in pitch, on that classic stack of the ring finger above the middle. So that'll do. There's another way to play B here, which I think I've told you the disadvantage to this B is there's no 3rd. It has to be a suspended with no 3rd, which sometimes is fun, sometimes is not. But there's another way to play the B, and if you basically just take on this string, the A string, 2nd one farther from your face, 2nd one down, this one, if you were to basically replace your first finger with your middle, and then on the 1st fret, on the string directly underneath, above in pitch, but away from your face, have your first finger on the 1st fret. That's a suspended also, but at least you have your 3rd. So here. That one might be a little tough for the wrist, but it is an option. My ring finger's not doing anything. Okay. Kind of gives like a walk down sort of feel. This one's really nice. All you have to do for the C sharp minor is keep your first finger there, don't change a thing, and just put your ring finger down on the 4th fret, but one string in between, so you're on the A string right there. So you have this one that's in the middle that you're not holding down on the 4th fret, it's still from the first finger. That's a C sharp minor, or at least it'll pass. Okay, those are the big 4. So we have E suspended, E, lift up the first finger on the A string for A, back to E. The B is the same one we had before, but you don't have to change your first finger at all, just leave it there. Ring finger on the 4th fret of the D string, this one. There's B, back to E. C sharp minor is basically like the B, but you just move your ring finger down one string, or closer to your face one string. Okay, that'll give your pinching muscles a workout. I'm already getting a little tired of it. But so you're here. If you imagine your B chord, you can keep those 2 fingers the same and just move your middle finger to the 4th fret of the low E string, but you're gonna have to mute the A string in there. It's dirty, but it'll pass as a G sharp minor. That's the 3rd column, 2nd row. Right 3, down 1. Okay, your other G sharp minor chord is the same that we had in the key of E. So that should be nothing new. Oh, sorry, that was F sharp minor. 4th position. F sharp minor is the same. Anyway, the other F sharp minor that's on this is in the middle row or middle column, bottom row. So bottom middle, F sharp minor chord. If you make the A chord like we were just doing, if you wrap your thumb, if you can manage that, and hold down the F string, or the F sharp, the 2nd fret of the low E string, this is one of those where it's more like a A than an F sharp minor, but it'll pass. Like you won't be dissonant with anybody. So that's one way to do it. You can also do your F sharp minor just like the other G sharp minor, just move down. So it kind of depends. If you're already here, slide down, it's no big deal. But if you're already at this E, you might do your F sharp minor like this. These 2 fingers aren't doing anything. Okay, one thing I find that this is helpful in, the chords really don't sound, I wouldn't say this is helpful. One disadvantage is the chords don't really sound a lot different than each other, but you get a lot of good moving bass lines with this. Like, you know, I played How Deep the Father's Love, E. If you just do the F sharp minor this way, it's kind of like an E over F sharp, really. Nothing much has changed on the top, you just changed the bass line. And then if you do your E with, oh, I didn't show this one. Here's E. If you use your ring finger and move it to the low E string, we often get these slash chords as in the band. You really don't have to, if it's a slash chord and there's one on top and one on bottom, if you just played the top, you're fine. And so we could just play E on an E over G sharp, or whichever's to the right, that's the bass. So if you played whatever note is to the left or whatever chord is to the left, E over G sharp, just play the E, you'll be fine. The bass player will take care of the bass line. But if you're by yourself, it's a nice little option to be able to carry the bass line. So this is E, G sharp's right there. So E over G sharp, and then you have A this way, then you have B this way, C sharp minor this way, and if you did D over, or the weird B that I showed. So you almost have this like walk-up bass line you can do. Or down. So let me try that again. Yeah, so that one's kind of fun. It might make your fingers tired or your muscle here tired, but here's what could we play? Yeah, so it's another option. And really, you're going to be, when you're playing in the key of E, we did one before, you're going to be, if you do your other home bass, well, if you're already here, you can switch to F sharp minor here, or C sharp minor rather, A, so you can mix and match. You don't have to stay in one position. It kind of just depends on what sounds you like and what you're going for. So another tool in the tool belt for the key of E.